I want to ask you about your book. How does that book, what does the book discuss, and how does it work or combine into the corporate world?
Yeah, well, I was very ambitious in my career, and I came into the workplace with a bit of a naive view, thinking that if I just worked hard and I kept my nose clean, that somebody would come along and tap me on the shoulder and say, "Okay, we're going to promote you." And guess what? It does not work that way.
Yeah, it
Like
does not.
you could be over in a corner working hard all day for many, many years and nothing is going to happen. You're going to come in and just do your job every day. I mean, if you're lucky, actually. And so I suppose as time went on, I started learning that work really sort of is a game. And if you want to win, meaning like if you want to advance and you want to, feel fulfilled, happy and successful at work, that you need to start understanding the way that this game is played. And I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, and the book does talk about some of those lessons that I learned. I also was lucky to have a couple of mentors in my career that I kind of think of them as like pulling the curtain back and saying, this is what's really going on here. Like, start looking at these things. You think that this person is motivated by this, and they're not. They're motivated by something different. And once you start to understand that kind of thing, you can have more influence in the organization, and you can start to see different options for things that you can do or ways that you can show up. You can start to have more influence or advocacy within the organization, and that's very empowering. You can start
Yes.
winning.
Yeah, very empowering because, like I said, you start winning, and it gives you the status that helps you make more money and take better care of
Yeah.
your family. So
Yeah, and there's some things that I found to be, in some ways, a lot of things were counterintuitive. One of the things I've noticed in my coaching is that for high achieving people, generally, if they're not getting the results that they expect, that their first instinct is to work harder, to go faster, to do more. And a lot of times that actually gets them the opposite results. They get burnt out. Much like the person I was talking about earlier that was working 70 hours a week and was considering asking for a demotion. That wasn't doing her any good to work harder. It was wearing her out. It was hurting her health and her relationships with her family. And really, it was stepping back and looking for those opportunities to find leverage within the world that she had control over. And I don't think that she initially realized that she had control, right? She had a lot of things that she could decide she wanted to do. And it really was a matter of her mentally promoting herself to that leadership position and realizing, like, oh, I can redesign these processes. Just
yeah,
because it was done this way in the past doesn't mean that's how we have to do it going
I'm just gonna
forward.
do it. Yeah, you said something there. So this is your fault, but you said something there that takes me back to an article you wrote last year. Uh, you're talking about the mindset, giving yourself a promotion. Last year, you wrote an article, cultivating a wealthy mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wealthy. Well, first thing, let us deconstruct it. What does wealthy mindset mean?
Well, it's funny because for the article that I wrote, I probably wouldn't have personally put it that way, but the person that asked me to write it, that was sort of like her construct. I would probably call it a productive, positive mindset.
Okay.
And I think that, if we think about wealth, what is wealth? I don't believe that wealth is the number that's on your bank account. I don't think that it's, how much your house cost or like what kind of car you drive. I think that wealth is about having choices and having the ability to define what success looks like for you. And so often, many of us never really think about that. We just kind of buy into, what does society say that success looks like, right? Is it like lifestyles of the rich and famous?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
is it, like my client, I want to be able to get up and go to my daughter's soccer game on Saturday without feeling guilty or feeling like I'm going to have to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning to finish my work that I didn't get done during the week. Like that's, in some ways, even though she probably was making a lot more money in that promotion, it was a bit of a poverty mindset. Like,
Yes.
that she didn't have the, agency to create the thing that she wanted to create. And she actually did. She just didn't realize it.
Well, it sounded like to me when you talked about abundance mindset and scarcity
Mm-hmm.
mindset that she was living that scarcity mindset.
Yeah, she was. She was. And, and it was very, I was very happy to see how quickly she shifted. And it's not uncommon. I kind of look at all of us like walk around in our world with blinders on in a way.
Yes.
And that's okay. I mean, because whatever we've learned or whatever we've experienced creates our view on the world. But we hear people say perception is reality. Well, if we start to believe that more is possible, if we really in some ways start to peel back the blinders a little bit and start realizing like there's probably a broader range of ways that you can approach something than what you realize. And I guess circling back to the whole idea of coaching, like that's what I help people with, is to say, okay, well, you've typically approached this in like these 3 different ways, and you've tried this multiple times and it's not working. Well, let's see if there are maybe 5 more ways that you could try. And it's natural for people to feel uncomfortable, to be like, well, that seems risky, right?
Yes.
But I'm kind of like, well, if you've tried all these other things and they're not working, and then how risky is it? It might work.
Yeah. What do you have to lose at that point? If it's not
Right,
working, it's not
exactly.
working. So you can't go
Exactly.
any worse than not working.